Good afternoon. It's the first time anyone's ever told me to talk louder. Well, you can't, but they can. Take it up with the state, their equipment.
Sabotage.
Pass.
Put your mouth right up to it like it's an ice cream cone.
That you can't afford.
Literally.
I don't think this is the appropriate venue.
I mean, to get the volume out.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for participating today, both the media and the public. These green hills and silver waters are my home. They belong to me and to all of our sons and daughters. May they be strong and forever free. That's from the Vermont State song, as much as I'd like to claim credit for it. But this group is gathered today to express their displeasure with political initiatives that threaten the fabric of the song, the very fabric of our state. My name is James Ellers. I'm one of the organizers for today's protest themed Tap Trees, Not Vermonters. Our first speaker, Mike Covey of Williamstown.
Hi everybody. So James talked about fabric. I'm wearing a tie here. It's a tartan. So this is my family tartan, right? My mother was a Robertson, and the question could be asked: are these threads 15 years old, or do these threads go all the way back through time to when this tartan was first developed? There are threads that run all through all of our lives that tie us together and that weave the pattern that creates who we are. So one of those threads is that humans have always hunted. My community has, in recent years, been forced to acknowledge that some legislators will repeatedly move legislation and seek to push legislation that is harmful, injurious to what we care about. And not only that, it's gotten to a point where it is often injurious to the wildlife that we care about. And so my speech is really short. We've never been involved in elections. My organization's never been involved in elections. We've always been happy to work with anybody who came to the table. And starting this election cycle, we are going to be getting involved in elections. So, it's going to be very simple, very simplistic approach as we sort out the best way to do this, but some legislators have made it clear that they don't have any regard for us, and so we'll be seeking to help anyone who opposes them. And it'll be nonpartisan. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Our next speaker, Susanna Jones from Walden.
Our legislature is overwhelmed and overrun by well-financed, highly organized developers and profiteers. Their hubris and lack of accountability to the public is completely out of control. I am going to offer but one troubling example. Bill S-236, which was introduced this session, proposed to eliminate public participation in cases brought before the Public Utilities Commission. Today, if a pipeline or a grid expansion or a wind factory is proposed in your community, you, as the affected public, can participate in the deliberations on the proposed project. But if this bill passed, it would have removed the major obstacle to the developer's plans: us. we would no longer have any say about industrial scale development in our own communities. This bill also proposed to eliminate the sound rules for industrial wind, which is another obstacle for developers and was meant to protect the public. This bill was not written with Vermont's mountains, wildlife, forests, or waterways in mind. It was not written on behalf of the public. It was written to offer up Vermont on the altar, as a sacrifice on the altar of economic growth. So this bill was shelved for now, but it'll likely be back and we'll be ready for it, even if they try to dress it up and disguise it and call it something like the Affordable Public Engagement Act. Our policies, should not be determined by the growth at any cost mentality of those who stand to profit. The build-out of industrial renewables desecrates our mountains, clear cuts our forest, it covers our farmland, it's driving working people from their homes and dividing rural communities, not to mention the disastrous mining and toxic dumps that these technologies create here and around the world. An honest look at the consequences of such build-out would reveal that these technologies are not clean or green at all. They are business as usual disguised as concern for the planet. Simply changing the fuel that runs business as usual is not an effective climate response. So for this reason, and many others like it, working Vermonters from all over the state are joining together to defend the land we love and our way of life. And we'd like to invite the legislature and those of you in the media as Vermonters to join us in this effort because we all love Vermont.
Thank you, Susanna. Our next speaker, Bruce Host of Essex.
Yay,
Well, you know I'm Bruce Post, and you know I'm from Essex. I've been around politically for a long time, and I'm also an environmental historian. The last time I was in this building was pre-pandemic. A lot of things have changed. I now have hearing aids. 2 months ago, I had my cataracts fixed, and I have new lenses. I can see better. And I don't like what I see. There have been basically 3, starting with colonial times, periods of development here. The Great Spoliation, when they cut down the trees, ignorantly, I believe. Then there was the period of Great Twilight, when people started leaving Vermont, our young people. It's been going on for years, left Vermont. And we just sort of bumped along until the post-World War II period and the great acceleration began. Pedal to the metal. Oil was plentiful, and that changed the fabric of Vermont. What I fear today is we're entering a 4th phase. I call it the unmaking of Vermont. And it will be irrecognizable. We'll have bloated, dense cities, probably similar to Westchester County, north of New York City. We're going to have even more economically gated ski areas, our mountains, will be homes for people of privilege and wealth. And finally, I fear they're going to be back blown off our mountaintops. So we're going to look like Westchester County and West Virginia in one fell swoop. And I just can't take it. What concerns me is not that they're necessarily Democrats or there's a supermajority. They're a monoculture. And monocultures, they're almost zombies. 2 or 3 people from Burlington are determining what the rest of Vermont should look like. And I can't stand it. James has said I'm done. I'm going to leave one thing. I believe embedded in the talk about renewable energy, clean heat standard, housing is a bit of ageism. You may have heard that saying, move over, boomer. Okay, I'm a boomer, I'm 76. We're supposed to get out of our houses and give them up to somebody else. Well, I'll tell you this. This is one boomer who ain't moving over. Here's the punchline. Every year, my grandkids come here from Germany. They're joint citizens. Their dad's German, their mom's from Vermont. And last year, my 3-year-old granddaughter really took off in English. And I just want to say with pride, in conclusion, there's one kid in Germany who knows how to say, "Jeez, I'm crow."
Well, as Boomer Bruce moves over, he's going to make room for another boomer, Pam Lads of Newport.
Hi, I'm Pam Lads from Newport. Yes, I'm a boomer. Yes, I have hearing aids. And yes, I've had my cataracts fixed. That's not what I'm here to talk about, though. All right. Speak up. Okay. What we're not addressing so far, and we've certainly looked at a lot of other things, is water. I'm a water warrior, an old one. If this state has water, we have lots of water, and we're poisoning it bit by bit. We can survive with many other things changing. We cannot survive without clean drinking water. I live right next to Lake Memphremagog. What the state in its wisdom has allowed to happen is the creation of a monstrosity called the landfill. It is the only working landfill in the state. And for those of you who happily put your bag of trash out, it's picked up by some miraculous company who disappear it and you never have to wonder again. It comes up to Coventry, which is the next little town to Newport. It gets dropped in a gargantuan stinking pit, and then it forms something that we refer to lovingly as Mount Trashmore. There are several peaks for Mount Trashmore. If you look at a map, you can see it above our lake, Lake Memphremagog, which happens to be a reservoir, a drinking reservoir for Sherbrooke in Quebec. Landslides from landfills are not uncommon. Someday we will have another tropical storm or a hurricane here, and that landslide will slide straight into the lake. There's nothing there to stop it. Gravity does that. We need alternatives to how we are handling garbage, trash, sludge, other things that are so poisonous that we already have the evidence in our own bodies and the bodies of our children and our grandchildren. Babies are born already with PFAS chemicals in their systems. That's horrifying. We are poisoning ourselves. We're guaranteeing our own extinction if we don't wake up. We have a choice. We can do that. But it requires us pushing our legislators to do things differently, to be aware of the impact, how we walk on the soil that we love. We're all living here because we choose to be here. None of us want to leave, or we wouldn't be here today. Most of our legislators want to be here, and they want to do the right thing. But greenwashing is not a solution. Greenwashing has as many problems as all of the other washing we had before that. So this is a plea for us all to get involved, take care of the planet we're living on. It's the only one we've got. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. Our next speaker, Paul Beauregard of Fletcher.
I want to thank you all for coming out today, and I want to thank James for putting this together. Listening to other people, it's very obvious that a lot of people in this room have a lot of very strong feelings about what's going on in Vermont. I'm glad to see that. I too have those strong feelings. Mine are a touch different. I agree with everyone here. I also think Vermont is being taxed to oblivion. That's my concern. That's why I'm here today. I'm really glad to see everyone here is getting off the couch and doing something. It feels like we're being forced off the couch, but let me say something to the Vermont legislature and say it very clearly. We're getting off the couch, and we're coming. I have
Thank you, Paul. Our next speaker, Allison Despathy of Danville.
Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for being here, and it's an honor to stand with you all, but I'm also very sad that we have to be here because our legislators are letting us down in the supermajority, and we shouldn't have to be here because we should be able to be at our homes, we should be able to be at our homesteads, on our farms, running our businesses, doing our work, being with our children, but instead we have to come here because the supermajority is fully out of control and they're not serving the people. And we all know this, and we feel it now, and we also see what's coming down the road. And this goes to the Global Warming Solutions Act and everything that it is perpetuating in the State House with the supermajority right now. We've got the Affordable Heat Act, Unaffordable Heat Act, right? We all know that's a joke. That is absolutely deceitful to even call it that. We've got the Renewable Energy Standard coming our way. And we've got possibly a Clean Cars initiative that's going to increase the cost of our gas and our diesel. So we know it's out of control. We shouldn't have to be here, but we are here. And instead of our representatives representing us in the supermajority, they are choosing special interests, they are choosing agendas, and they're acting more like activists instead of representatives. And they're here. To serve the people, and we need to remind them of that apparently. And really, one of the biggest solutions, and this is what I talked about 2 weeks ago, is we need to elect people who will come in here, repeal the Global Warming Solutions Act. We have Representative Higley's bill. We need to repeal that so that we can get Vermont on a path that is going to serve the people and the environment and not punish us and attack us. And that is exactly what we're feeling right now, and it's exactly why we are here, and we need representatives who are going to serve us. Thank you.
Thank you, Allison. Sounds like you have a campaign committee out there in the making. Our next speaker, Carol Irons of Albany.
Thank you. As an Abenaki elder, I welcome you, and we gather here today on unceded Abenaki land. We have been here more than 12,000 years, and we follow our original instructions, deliberately staying in balance within the web of life. We limited our population to keep it within the carrying capacity of our own territories. When we spoke truth. We knew that lies are a sign of a twisted spirit. We lived in a materially simple life on purpose, knowing that greed is a sign of a shriveled spirit. Courage, humility, and generosity show a large and strong spirit. When we took, we gave to keep the energy flowing. And then they came, those pale ones from across the gray water. They brought their sure knowledge of their superiority. They brought their diseases and their life-destroying values. They found vast forests full of many four-leggeds and wingeds. They found beautiful clear waters, thick with fish. They found a vibrant web of life. And the complexity of that has never been understood and still isn't. With their diseases and their weapons and their never-ending increasing population, they took the lands, they cut the forests, they dammed the rivers, they put poisons on the earth that nurtured them, and they continue that to this day. Growth and greed are cannibal twins. serving only themselves. Now the energy empire, the developers, and the politicians in their unholy alliance serve the cannibal twins. There is a need to develop transformative models of simpler, less expensive, more nurturing lifestyles. We need real change in education, in our ecology, relationships, our energy use, and our value systems. We need to stop serving the cannibal twins.
Our next speaker, John Rogers of Glover.
Thank you all for coming out. We know that there's a ton of folks who would like to be here with us but couldn't get off from work, and I thank all those people who took the day off from work to be here because this is important. I'm here today to speak up for the working class and working poor Vermonters who have been forgotten by this legislature. I'm here to speak for all those who work too hard for too little in a state that costs too much to live in. I'm here for working Vermonters, no matter their race, creed, color, religion, political affiliation, or any other way that they identify. Vermonters are feeling tapped by the legislature, and we have no more blood to give. The legislature has created an environment in Vermont where we have low income potential and extremely high cost of living. The legislature wasted time this year on the so-called ghost gun bill, a made-up term meant to scare people who do not know what they are doing. The legislature, instead of addressing what they should have, which is public safety and criminal justice, and punish offenders who are currently going through a revolving door. The legislature wasted time on an Act 250 bill, which makes it easier for wealthy developers to develop in downtowns that are dumping raw sewage into our waterways, while making it harder to develop and subdivide in rural communities where most young Vermonters want to live. The legislature wasted time on an energy bill that was written by energy developers and will profit energy developers and utilities at the cost of hundreds of millions of dollars a year on working Vermonters. This energy bill does nothing to address climate change. It only rewards energy developers who contribute to the legislators that are forwarding the bill. This is a regressive bill that will punish working class and poor Vermonters to make millionaires even richer. The legislature wasted time on a housing bill that makes it easier for wealthy developers to build large buildings filled with tiny apartments that would be called affordable. The people who live in these apartments would be able to afford rent, but will never be able to save up money to buy their own home. And most of these buildings will have no access to nature or land. True progress on housing will only happen when we make Vermont a more affordable place to live, so that young people can have a house on a small piece of land connected to nature where they can grow a garden and raise a few animals and be more self-sufficient and climate friendly. This will allow people to build equity and create intergenerational wealth that renters will never have. The legislature wasted time on a bill that would destroy the way our Fish and Wildlife Board works with our Fish and Wildlife Department, instead of working on real climate change solutions. Should we feel good about driving an electric car whose battery components are built with child and slave labor? No! Should we feel good about solar panels that are built in China where they have no worker protection and workers are overworked and underpaid? No! Environments around the world are being destroyed and the local workforce is being exploited to build these solar panels and batteries that they are calling green. We must address climate change in ways that are real and stop accepting the greenwashing of energy developers and their supporters in the legislature. and environments around the world must be respected and protected. The greenwashing for profit must end, and the legislators who've been promoting it must be replaced. Those of us who are supporting the land that provides the ecosystem services for all Vermonters get no compensation, and in fact, have to pay exorbitant property taxes, even though we are the ones that are doing the right thing for climate change. We must expose the dishonesty in the legislature, who use political speak to hide what these bills are actually doing. The Unaffordable Heat Act will not be paid by oil dealers, and it will add hundreds of millions of dollars to the cost of living for working Vermonters. The energy bill will not address climate change, but it will add hundreds of millions of dollars to Vermonters' electric bills. That money will be given to utilities and wealthy energy developers. We already know that poor people pay a much higher percentage of their income for energy, yet the legislature continues to add to their burden. Legislators say that they are concerned with affordability and then vote for bills that make it less affordable for working Vermonters. We must all commit to informing people about what's really happening in this building and how individual legislators are voting on these bills. We must teach them the importance of primary election and turn out the masses if we wish to change the direction of this state. For too long, too many people have been complicit about the primary and even sometimes about the general election. I know that everyone is tired at the end of a long workday, but without more of us getting involved, things will never change. Few legislators seem to understand that many of us pass a 40-hour work week by midweek. They fail to understand that many of us have worked 7 days a week for most of our lives. I get it, we're tired, and we're tired of being overtaxed and priced out of the state we love. So now, I ask for a little audience participation. What will we ask Governor Scott to do with the energy bill if it reaches his desk?
Veto!
What will we ask him to do with the Act 250 bill if it reaches his desk?
Veto!
What will we ask him to do with the Fish and Wildlife bill if that reaches his desk?
Veto!
What will we ask him to do with all the bills that add excessive cost to Vermonters?
Veto!
Veto. Thank you all.
Thank you, John. As is my prerogative, being the last one at the microphone, I'll share a little story. As a veteran, we were asked to endure a lot of uncomfortable situations during my time in service. But all we ever asked for was that particularly our superiors would be honest with us. And we had a really crass, and I'll clean it up a little bit because I know there's some tender ears in here. But we just asked if you were going to urinate on our head, don't tell us it's rain.
Right, exactly.
This legislature isn't only urinating on our heads, they are dumping it into our rivers. Barry alone, Barry City last week, nearly 30 million gallons of solids over the weir. That's code for feces and everything else that people flush down toilets going into a public drinking water supply. To say nothing of the natural communities that depend on healthy aquatic ecosystems. So I would just ask, John did a very good job of pointing out the political speak that we're asked to endure in this building. Just say, listen, cut it. Tell us the truth. If you're trying to tax us out of here or poison us out of here, tell us. Because by all accounts, that's what they're doing. Thank you very much for participating. If the media, thank you for that reminder. Anyone who's here, please go down to the Sergeant at Arms office and leave a message for your senator or your House rep. They will get a hand-delivered note to wherever they are in the building right now, courtesy of the pages. But share your thoughts on why you came to the State House today. That is very, very important.
Very.
And for the media, if you'd like any questions of the participants, we're welcome to field some questions.
What's the next step? What's the next step? Where do you guys want to see this go?
We'll be back.
Yes.
We'll just leave it at that. They're the ones with the power, Paul. They're the ones with the power. We have no choice but to react to what they're doing to us. So if they continue to push these bills through and then attempt to override sane, responsible vetoes, we'll be back, and we'll be back, and we'll be back.
And we're seriously thankful for the media who did show up, because we know that our message has been suppressed by some in the media. We're quite frankly disgusted by it, because we think this is news. This is real people dropping their lives. I should be home on my farm working. I'd rather be home on my farm working. I'm here because this is so important. And we depend on the media to help us inform the public about what's going on in this building. Because when people get home from work, at the end of the day, they are not looking at legislation, and the political speak that's coming out of the mouths of these people does not represent what they're doing, so people are left in the dark. And so thank you to all the media that's here helping us spread the word.
And to elaborate on John's point, you're not supposed to do this in political correctness school, but WCAX, when they covered this last time, they made an error by referring to a person they quoted as a State House observer. That person is a paid lobbyist for the industries that are driving the issues that we are here speaking out against. We are here to correct the record, whether it's coming from the media or the politicians. We've had it. We are done being sheep. Sean, Stephen, did Digger, my NBC 5, have any questions? You're good? You're good? You know how to reach us. Thank you everyone for attending today, and please go leave the Sergeant at Arms. And don't go look for the legislators that you actually maybe like. Go look for the legislators that you disagree with in the building and tell them why you're here today. They deserve to be uncomfortable. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.